Cool. First Everton video. So, just quickly, my name's John Cartwright. I am Everton fan. Been that way for about 4 years, 5 years, around the World Cup, the 2014, I think, World Cup, with where Tim Howard was boss. That led me to Everton, so I started following. And so, just gonna maybe start doing recaps just to express my fandom. Anyway, today, Everton 2, West Ham 0. Going into this game, I was really worried that we were going to get beat. And just because West Ham has had a better season than us so far, been probably playing a little more consistent. I'm sure their fans would argue with that. But I don't follow them enough, so I don't really know how consistent they've been. But they've been playing better than Everton because they were higher in the table. Let's just say that. And Everton, being acutely aware of their problems and inconsistencies and weaknesses, just felt like it's going to continue despite the international break. A lot of pressure on Marco Silva leading into this game. I mean, everything that's gone wrong this season hasn't been his fault. Don't have enough center backs really. Didn't replace Ganagay, or did replace Ganagay, but then the replacement got hurt right away, Gabamin, and he's out for another 3 months, we learned this week. So he's not even going to be back next month like a lot of us were hoping. He's not going to come back until probably closer to the end of the season, which sucks. And we got a good young talented striker, but he hasn't really found his way in the game yet, which is understandable given that he came from Serie A, and it's just a different league. The Premier League is a lot more physical. Probably the speed of the game is different, and it's just going to take some time. So all that is not Marco Silva's fault, but it is his fault that, he's not gotten the players he does have, which we saw play last season for the most part, without Kurt Zuma and Ganagay. We saw this same squad go out and, achieve, I think, 8th place last season. So, I feel bad now because we're now learning just how dependent we were on Ganagay and even Kurt Zuma to some extent. So, whatever. Marco Silva is charged with making the team play and move onward and upwards, and they're falling flat. We're in the bottom 3 before this game. So, I don't want to see him go. I didn't want to see him go. I think, given Everton has won this game, before I get ahead of myself, I'll talk a little bit about that later. But, anyway, really worried. A lot of nerves heading into this game. Early start here in America, too. 6:30 is brutal. But it was cool. Usually Everton takes this kind of game and they come out of the gates flying, and you're like, yeah, we're going to get them. But they kind of don't score, and then the other team finds their legs and end up bossing Everton, and then you're depressed the rest of the weekend. But the opposite happened. West Ham kind of got into the game a little bit. I kind of felt like they looked like they were ready to attack and kind of be in our faces. But that all dissipated quickly, and then we scored. Bernard, works his way into the penalty area, dipsy-doos around their defenders and the goalie, and tucks it into the left corner of the net. It was a sweet-looking goal. It's good to see Bernard score because he doesn't score a lot, just judging from last season, and Marco Silva charged him with getting some more goals out of his game, and, that was a big goal. Started the game off the right way. Put some pressure on West Ham quick, and the fans are at Goodison, instead of being on their backs and getting the players on edge like it happens a lot, they're behind them. And the other thing I noticed quickly was Everton just bossing the middle field. I was watching it at a pub here in the States, and I mentioned it, and he was like, be quiet, don't jinx it, because we haven't really seen Everton boss anybody in the midfield all season. So and I kind of expected with everything we hear about Declan Rice and the good signings that West Ham added this season. We've kind of felt like it was going to just be one of those games where we're going to launch everything to the side and across to try to make some headed the ball in or whatever. But nah, man, Everton was taking the ball off of West Ham players directly and racing up the field around their defensive midfielders, making them look pretty. Like West Ham kind of looked to me like it's almost as if they prepare for something else. Which, now that I say that makes sense because all we done up until today was send it wide and cross the ball in. And today, I can't really remember too many instances where we consistently just sent the ball wide and crossed it in. A lot of the ball was being worked through the middle, and that's probably just because, not just because, but one of the things that contributed to that was Iwobi starting in the middle as the number 10. Not sure I know exactly what a number 10 is. Forgive me, I'm not a guru of soccer yet, but he played in the middle. He was a little bit more creative, and Tom Davies being in the middle too. He usually, from what I can see, is more of a offensive player than defensively minded. So, and he had Gomez to kind of cover, and Gomez was another one bossing them around, taking the ball, holding them off. He's really good at just kind of keeping the ball in the middle of the pitch and finding where it needs to go next. And then whoever gets the ball after that takes it forward, So all the midfield was good today. Didn't expect that, but so pretty much all game I was in two minds, right? Like watching it didn't really look like West Ham had anything, especially the first half. When Yarmolenko came on, given the history with him and Everton's luck, he, you kind of think, oh, he's the one who's going to score on us. But he came in, he made it a little more interesting on the outside looking in from a West Ham perspective, but not enough. So that said, it never really looked like they had much except for a few instances where there was a free kick or a set piece, which is one of our Achilles' heels for some reason. So it never looked like they were going to get in it, but knowing Everton and seeing all the other games and just Everton this, Everton that, you think, oh man, they're going to find a way to equalize or maybe take the game, and Everton's not going to be able to get back in it. But that didn't happen. So I'll just fast forward, probably stoppage time. I think they Marco subbed Gylfi Sigurdsson in, and given that he wasn't starting, I guess he took that as a chip, an opportunity to show that he deserves to start, which, even though he scored, he ends up scoring a worldie. I still wouldn't start him just because he's had so many games this season or so many chances to do what he did and hasn't done it up until he comes off the bench. So maybe some sort of super sub. Maybe that's for the best. Anyway, was very comforting to get that second goal just because he spent the whole game thinking, I know West Ham doesn't look like they have much, but it's Everton they're playing. So how's the other shoe gonna drop? But anyway, he scored that goal and nerves were put at ease. Everybody's happy. 3 points. We're out of the bottom 3, which sucked. Even being a fan for a short amount of time, I can't imagine just seeing everything go down. I would be pretty depressed. Can't imagine what longtime fans would think. So just seeing Everton in the bottom 3 was kind of like, oh man, is this the beginning of a terrible season? So back to what I was saying about Silva, I don't want to see him go. I was glad that he got the win and to see the pressure go off of him. I don't think, like I said before, I don't think all of this was his fault, but he did have to make some changes, and he did today. He dropped Sigurdsson. He put Richarlison back up front, which is probably still not his best position, but he's probably our best striker right now. I like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but there's nothing wrong with Calvert-Lewin for his age, I guess. It's just Richarlison is a problem, right? Like, when Richarlison's on, he's causing problems. It really don't even matter where you put Richarlison. When he's on his game, he's causing problems, and he ran their center backs ragged today. He got it given to him too a little bit, and there were a lot of fouls that weren't called. But yeah, I think Marco Silva got it right from a squad perspective. Seamus Coleman was disqualified because of his 2 yellow cards, so he had to put Sidibe in. But Sidibe looked good. I mean, and I was talking with a buddy, and Sidibe didn't have to play a lot of defense, and I think that's the knock on him. And from what I've heard, is he's not sound as you would like defensively. But I mean, West Ham's wingers weren't really just shredding up the field, so Sidibe was able to just bomb forward, and he's looked a little bit quicker, and he looked a little more creative than Seamus Coleman. And I like Seamus Coleman. Like, I was fine with him. I wanted him to be captain, and I'm not saying he's crap or anything, but I think Sidibe earned another start at least, just because he made a couple not crosses, but he would kind of bomb in on the right and then pass it to the side to a waiting midfielder who's just outside the box, not crossing it in like Seamus would kind of do. And Seamus not that great at crossing, and Seamus really not that good at getting around his guy off the edge lately. Sometimes he'll do it and you think, oh, Seamus is back, but then his cross will be terrible, or he'll just fluff the ball or whatever. So Sidibe looked good. Yerry Mina looked awesome today. I think he got man of the match, and I can't argue with that. He's looked good all season. Michael Keane was good enough. Didn't make any big mistakes. Davies looked good. Really not a lot of bad players in this game. So hopefully this is, as I've heard in other game reviews, this is the standard. Terrible English accent. But anyway, hopefully this is the standard going forward, that they see how they can play and they carry that into away matches. Stop playing like scared little cats in away grounds. Just take the same mentality to Brighton next week and to Watford. I think Watford's at home, but take the same mentality to those games, and let's start collecting some points, because the tough games are coming. So yeah, that's my first review. Try to do this more often just because it seems fun. And all the usual stuff. Smash that like button. Get in the comments. Whatever. Thanks, and see you next time.